name is Sinda Ramadanti and I'm a student of English Department in Universitas Pamulang. So today I will explain about the stage of language acquisition based on Stern's theory, and this video will be submitted as my final test assignment for Introduction to Psycholinguistics. Hopefully this video will help you to gain some knowledge about language acquisition. First, let's go to the brief explanation about Stern's theory. Stern provides a comprehensive statement of their view in their book, Kindersprache, that was written by Clara Stern and also William Stern, published in 1907. In this book, they elaborate their view of the major stage of language acquisition. Because of this belief that speech begins from the moment in which the child, for the first time, utters a sound with full consciousness of its meaning and for the purpose of communication, Stern divides the children's development into 5 time periods. He calls the starting point as preliminary stage, followed by first, second, third, and fourth period. And now let's go to the preliminary stage. It's the first year of children development. There is no real language in this stage. However, Stern categorized 3 major behaviors during this time. They are babbling, imitation, and also rudimentary understanding. These activities are done separately, but later they are matched together until the first period. After that, the real language begins. Babbling naturally occurs because the children are programmed to do this. It has 2 purposes. First, it's the children's way to express themselves. Second, it is their way to socialize with other people. Imitating, or also called as echo-babbling, leads the children to practice their speech by imitating or copying what people say in front of them. Lastly, rudimentary understanding refers to the children's response to other people's utterance. For example, like clapping hands, waving goodbye, or smiling. However, these actions do not show any language understanding yet. It's only an association of sound with a certain action or context. And now we go to the first period. First period occurs when the children are able to produce the speech with meaning. The main behavior of this stage is one-word sentences. The children's words determined by some factors. First is the cognitive level of understanding, and second is the phonetical sound that is similar with the sound of thing, referred like the sound of cat that sound like meow, or the sound of cow that is like moo. However, there is no evidence that the children's understanding grammar yet. And now we move to the second period. Second period occurs when the children realize that everything has a name. It is followed by multi-word sentences that sound hesitantly at first, but it becomes fluently in the process. There are 3 stages of the vocabulary stage. They are substance, actions, and relation and distinction. Substance is the development of nouns, action is development of verbs, and relation and distinction is the development of qualifying and relational words. In this period, we will be introduced to the 2 terms, principle of linguistic sign and also awakening. Principle of linguistic sign is a principle of the realization that phonetic events can be paired in the conventional way with concept. Meanwhile, awakening in this case refers to the time when the children are triggered by the past experience that impact their internal ability of language acquisition. This is also called as transition stage. The children finally be able to break the limit between sounds and the real world event. And now we go to the third period. Syntax development happens in this period. There are 2 major grammatical changes, the onset of the acquisition of inflection and the combination of words by syntactic rules. Principle of syntactic structure directs to the child to formulate rules of sentence structure within the restriction of universal grammar and some theory of acquisition. Sentences become well-formed. there is a basic structure of sentence. They are subject and verb. Stern gives the example of how his child asks to his mother to buy pickles by saying, Mama, one pickle, room, 20 pickles, bag, dada, mama fetch. It might sound funny, but we can call it sentence because there are verb and also subject within it. And now we go to the fourth period, which is the last period of Stern's language acquisition. Fourth period is marked by three major changes. They are the appearance of subordinate sentences, the use of questions, and the creative construction of new words. On the first change, the appearance of subordinate sentences, the complementizers, relative pronouns, and adverbials that mark the subordinate clause may be absent. For example, Mother say Bill has Gunther, when the child actually wants to say, I want to tell mother what Gunther has been building. We can see that the structure is improved from the previous stage. However, we still can see that there is something missing. There is no adverbial words to connect those sentences, and also the missing relative pronoun, which is I. On the second chance, the use of question, the children likely use any concrete question using what, where, who, when, and why. And we can see from the example that why question can be so quite persistent. We can also see that the child still use es to refer the plural form of fish. It might sound annoying, but it is actually a good sign of the children's language and knowledge development. And now we finally come to the conclusion. Stern sees development as scanning 5 time periods. One he calls a preliminary stage, and the other 4 he calls periods and numbered them 1 to 4. Every stage has their own characteristic and developments. It is a continuity of process that relate one to another. It can be assumed that the result of each process determine how the next one will be. The parent's role is to guide the children's learning process. So, it is the reference that makes my presentation possible. Hopefully, this video can help you to gain a new knowledge about language acquisition. I'm Indah Ramadanti and see you on the next project.